It's not often that we are gifted with something truly wonderful. But, alas, here we find ourselves being gifted just that.
10 million people is going to have an effect on housing.
Do you
in
think
the
that if
UK.
we lock down our borders, we're going to solve the housing crisis?
Well,
is that going to solve it?
The thing is, the more people you have in a country, the more houses you're going to need. I know it might sound...
He's really good at explaining things, ladies, isn't he?
Now, to anybody that's been following this in any meaningful way, you'll know that this face has become the meme of 2026 so far. I think what they thought was that Rob Kenyon, who's found himself in a spot of bother because he said some things on the internet, and it depends on your taste. I mean, this is Carol Vorderman. He said some well, actually, he didn't even say them. Somebody else said some strange things about Carol Vorderman and a certain part of her body. And Carol Vorderman has been on somewhat of a mission to talk about how desperately offended she has been by the comments that actually he didn't even make, to be honest. My only advice for Rob Kenyon, who is the Reform candidate for the Makerfield by-election, is don't you dare apologise for anything. He's been asked so many times to apologise and he hasn't, and I'm so glad about that. This culture that we've created, where it's post social media, where things that you've said are out there, and we demand these whiter than white characters, and that's when we get the bland, and that's when we're lumped with the bland likes of Keir Starmer, who may not have ever put a foot wrong on social media, and may have always said the right things. But the bloke has got no character to him whatsoever. And look, if it comes out that Rob Kenyon has said something that actually probably would disqualify him from running, then that's a different story. But so far, it doesn't look as though it's stuck. Just for pure enjoyment, we're going to watch that clip again. But this is the slightly longer one.
The idea of blaming our housing crisis on immigration is absolutely wild to me, actually. Robert,
that says more about you because we've got an extra 10, 20 million people come in the country.
Do you think that if...
Computing.
Do you not think an extra 10 million people is going to have an effect on housing?
Do you think that
UK?
if we lock down our borders, we're going to solve the housing crisis?
Well,
is that going to solve it?
The thing is, the more people you have in a country, the more houses you're going to need. I know it might sound...
He's really good at explaining things, ladies, isn't he?
Let's get the face, let's get the face.
Yeah.
They chose not to go down the route of letting people in that come by rubber dinghy into the island that we call home, that then go on to commit crimes against women in particular. They didn't go down that route. And it's a shame, really, because what I would have liked for him to have said, where he might have got the same face reaction, is... Because quite often when you say to people, if we're letting these people into the country and they're committing these crimes, they say, well, white people commit crimes too. As if like, oh, got you, owned you. But you could Rob Kenyon them and say, if these people aren't physically in the country, they can't physically commit the crimes. It's very simple. And he's demonstrated how simple it is there with the housing question. The more people in a country, the more houses you're going to need. It's so logical. This is what happens when people base their entire identity on emotion, not on logic. That facial expression there is one of conflict. This person has just been served with a very logical truth bomb. Very simple. The more people in a country, the more houses you're going to need. But that doesn't compute with my emotional belief, which is that we can let as many people into the country as we want, and we can provide them all with housing, and we can provide them all with benefits. It's contorted. The smile, the frown, it's almost sinister. It would be sinister without the context. If she came to your front door and she had that look, if you opened the door and she had that look on her face, you'd seriously worry for your safety. But because we know the context, because she's just been served a truth bomb, a very logical, simple truth bomb, by a northern plumber, which to her, he's like tantamount to absolute scum of the earth, vulgar scum of the earth. She's just been truth bombed. Really what she's thinking is, you absolute rat, you disgusting rat, You don't know anything about anything. I've actually got a degree. I've actually got a degree in human studies. But it's a gift. And because Rob Kenyon has held his ground and he hasn't apologised and he stayed firm, he's, I think, probably going to win more support, especially after that. That alone. I mean, that clip has gone so viral. And he managed to survive the storm of the stuff that he said in the past. Which is so depressing. So depressing that people can never escape or never reinvent or never be somebody else. And everybody's always so judgy. They're so like, actually, he said this in 2013. Just get a grip. Sort your life out. Let's sort the country out. How about that?